Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new series that I am starting off. It's Let's Build Something. It's very vague, I know, but I actually wanted to just showcase you something, build something that I find fun. And I said something because I don't know what I'm going to be using that day. It can be web, it can be mobile, anything that we think that is going to be valuable. So I'm very excited for this series. Today we will be showcasing one of the things that I built. I will talk about that in a second. And next, we will actually try out a new tool that has been announced and we will see how it works. Before moving forward, I will just wait for a second. Everything is here like I want it to be. All right. So slowly, here's what we are going to do. First, we need to move the StreamYard over here so I don't lose any context, and I will actually bring my IDE. Let me share my screen really quickly. Share screen, entire screen. Yes. Now I will see myself. Let me move myself. All right. So here is what we are going to do. Like I have been working on this interesting project, and we will have a mobile development event soon at Zurich. And I was building a really cool, I would say, React Native application with it, and I call it Zero Span. The reason that I call that is basically expense tracker. The reason that I'm using React Native, or the reason that I want to showcase here this, because of something that we call Kiro powers. I don't know if you have heard of Kiro powers or not before, but Kiro powers are making your agents stronger. You can give them information about how the agents can work, as well as give them a chance to call the MCP servers and everything else out there as well. And there has been a lot of new announcements thanks to the great work from the folks from the Vercel, that someone actually announced React best practices, which we will use in a second, and you will see how it works. And what I thought was, hey, like, why don't I bring everything together for React Native with Expo? Because Expo announced one, React Native announced another. So it's basically getting everything in place for us to work with. And now it is going to run. But if you work with mobile before, you know, the build process is not reliable that much at all. And last thing that I did was actually run the power through the best practices and basically let it do some changes on whatever we have built. Once this is done, we will see it, but the main thing that we are going to do is actually totally different. The main thing that we are going to see today is we are going to take a project that I have built a few months ago in a very hurry, so I know it's not in a good shape. That first we will showcase how the agents can use these best practices, like this agent skills or agent powers, to make the project better. And the second thing that we will do is to follow along the Amplify Gen 1 to Gen 2 process and see if we can migrate our project into Gen 2. So first things first, what we are going to do now is, okay, my screen is gone. So let me bring that back. All right, first thing that we are going to do is to actually clone a repository. And the repository is called, what was it called? I think it was like shopping list app. Yes. The shopping list app is, I don't care. The shopping list app is basically what I have built to showcase the Amplify Gen 1 capabilities in the simplest manner. And we will actually move that to Gen 2 now. So it asks me to open the clone repository, and I will do that. And now I have everything in place. This is a Read project with React. So the first thing that I will showcase is actually the powers that I have for my project, for my Kiro repository. You can see that I have a power from the Kiro team called build a power. It basically helps you out to build a Kiro power by using Kiro. Just a second, let me bring the Kiro page for powers. Kiro powers has been announced very recently. It adds an additional context and tools and whatever you need, and your steering files and everything as well. We have out of the box official Kiro powers for Kiro. For example, you can use Postman, Figma, Amplify, Superbase, and more. We have also community contributions such as built infrastructure on AWS from Christian, a good friend of ours from the community. You can also build yours and submit it as well, or keep it locally and share with your team. For example, the React Native best practices, I don't share it anywhere. However, if I go to prompts.dev, I have actually shared the React best practices one. Let's see, it's not fixed yet. The React best practices one is already shared with you, so you can see it on GitHub and use it in your project as well. It explains everything, even how to use that one too. All right, with everything in place, next thing that we are going to do is to first showcase how this works. To see how this works, we have multiple ways. One of the ways is we have tags here. We have keywords. According to the keywords, the Kiro power will be triggered. And with the triggered Kiro power, you will be able to run the power directly and get the output that you're looking for. For example, I will say, check out this project for React best practices and create a list of improvements to fix. So let's see what it will think. Let's see how it's going to react. So it includes everything. And now it activated the Kiro power with React best practices like I have expected it to be. So next thing that it will do is to go through the project, create every component, and do a basically overview of code base. Once everything is done, now it will take through the steering files of the power, which has all the rules that we have defined. And it says, okay, here are the critical things that needs to be done. And here are high priority and so on and so forth. With everything in place, next thing that I will do is I can even either ask it to just create by using the vibe mode, or I can say create a task list. I would just say create a task list by using spec mode to fix every improvement. It's not fixed, to add every improvement suggestion on the list. So it will actually probably ask me, hey, like this seems like a spec mode task. Do you want me to create the task list for this? Which we will say yes. And once we say yes, it will go through the project and create a task list for us. With the task list created in place, the next thing that we will do is actually, which is fun, we will be running all the tasks at once, because why not? We trust Kiro to do this thing. And once it does that, it will actually do meaningful commits. And meaningful commits mean I'm telling Kiro with my global steering files that, like, for everything that you do or for your changes, if it is more than 150, then break them into multiple commits. So each will follow a principle of having proper commit messages and so on. With all of these in place, we will have some fun. Also for React projects, I said, make sure you have npm run builds. So we're just trying to prevent a compile time error. So right now it created requirements for me. It goes through everything. Now it is planning. And after it is done, the next thing that it will do is create the design and the task list. Once it creates a design and a task list, then we can just run all tasks with the latest addition to Kiro by just clicking a button, which is verify. With this in place, we're just waiting for it to done. And what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the Amplify Gen 1 and Gen 2. And meanwhile, it creates a task list. I will actually take you through the documentation of it, what was the thought process, and what you can do or can't do. So it created everything. It asked me if everything is all right. You know what? I trust you. I'm sure you did a great job. You can see the credit usage is always shared with me and how long did it take. And right now I'm using Cloud Opus 4.5. It is the most expensive one here from the Kiro models, but you can use a cheaper model like Sonnet 4.5 or even a Haiku 4.5, or you can use auto mod to allow Kiro to define or build something for you. Once the design process is done, the next, you can see that it just created even a mermaid diagram on what we are doing and whatnot. Once everything is in place, next it will ask me, okay, now I want to create a task list. I have the best practice here. I have everything that I need that I want to do. And once it is running, it just formalizes the correctness properties, which is something came out recently to make sure that everything or every criteria, the acceptance criteria, matches the output that we expect it to do. And afterwards, it will create a task list. The task list will have everything that we had coming up from the React best practices that I have added as a Kiro Power. Once it is done, the next thing is just change everything according to task list, and we will read Amplify. In case you have not heard of Amplify or you are new to this world, Amplify, let me go to my LinkedIn so I can share this news with you. And if you are watching from LinkedIn, that's even better. So Amplify team has announced a Gen 1 to Gen 2 migration tool. This has been huge because Amplify Gen 2 has been out for over maybe 2 years right now, roughly. And since the beginning, the users has been asking for how can I migrate my applications? And this is not an easy task. This was not an easy challenge for the team to just handle. So what we have done is that we actually wanted to have a proper way of going from Gen 1 to Gen 2. So this documentation showcases right now, like, first of all, this is in beta, so it is not 100% ready for moving your migration, moving your production data into something new. You can try out, please try out and give your feedback. This is the time to give feedback. However, right now it's in beta, so you have to be aware that everything is going to be open for changes and so on. All right, so we will go through this project and everything, and we will use my Gen 1 project. By first, we will deploy it to the backend. Then afterwards, when the deployment is done, we will migrate our data and see if everything is going to work, if we can keep our data as well. This is right now not an open source project, but I might actually just open this up. It's not a very complicated project. The project itself has every step for you to add each feature, which is authentication, data, and what else you would need, right? And once everything is in place, then you should be good to go. So let's go back, and I will open up my terminal, bring my terminal here, and we will go to shopping list app. Let's be sure we are opening up the right one because this is showing a different one. This is the one that we are working on right now. So every task is in place. You can see that like it creates the shared utilities and everything whatnot. That's completely fine. And you can run all the tasks with one single click. So we have like roughly 16 tasks, but that's fine. It will just take care of it. In the meantime, we go through the initialization of our project. So if I go to my package.json file, you can see that I have some AWS Amplify libraries for UI, but and AWS Amplify libraries for communicating or connecting the backend. But I'm missing the infrastructure, the Amplify part of it. So if I go back to my app.tsx, you would see that like all of the implementation, including like sign out and so on, they're there, but they are not functioning right now. We have to be sure that everything is functioning correctly. So first thing that I will do is, let me open up my and say npm install, because we have to have our node modules to make sure everything is going to compile. Once everything is there, the next thing that we are going to do is to initialize an Amplify project. And how we do it with Amplify Gen 1 was you would write Amplify init. With Amplify Gen 2, it is a bit easier. You create an Amplify project from npm environment, but with Amplify Gen 1, you had your own CLI. And to initialize the project, you would just write Amplify init. And normally it should be working fine. Let's see, Amplify. Maybe we need an upgrade. Maybe it is slowly dying or having issues. Let's see. Yeah, we need to do an upgrade. Let's see the upgrade. So we would also have the commands that we need in case we need something new. All right, so Amplify init one more time. Let's see. This is why. This is a funny start already. I'm just trying this out with you, and the Amplify init to do in the project, it's not working, which is quite fun. All right, let's check the README. Maybe I was missing something. Maybe I forgot my own project. No, like it should say Amplify init here in the project. And we should have a, yes. All right. Do you want to continue with Amplify Gen 1? It took so much time. So why would you like to use Amplify Gen 1? I'm a current Gen 1 user. I find the Gen 1 CLI easier to use. Or not the answer. I don't want to confuse their data. And we will call it shopping step 1. And I will just initialize it as it is. And I will select database profile, my default one. And let me do something. So right now it is creating the initial Amplify project. What it does is it provisions the services to be able to have everything I need, and it creates IAM roles, S3 buckets for the deployment. So everything that I need or I might need is in place. Once everything is done, the next thing that we are going to do is we will add the services that we will be using. First of all, we will add the authentication. For that, we will do Amplify add auth. The Amplify add auth, I will just use default configuration and use a username, and I'm done. So this is good. And the next thing that I will do is Amplify add API. And with Amplify add API, I will select the GraphQL API, and for the authorization mode, I will get the Cognito user pool. And I mean, probably it made it that way, but let's see the doc and let's be sure that everything that we do follows that one. Amplify add auth is here, Amplify add API. it doesn't have that. That's my selection then. And we are not going to have any other thing. We will just have the basic one, which is a to-do application. They wanted the schema now. Yeah, that's it. That's the schema now. So what we are going to do is we are going to add this shopping list and shopping item that we have into our Amplify, and in the Amplify to the backend, to the API, then to the schema.graphql. In here, you write your GraphQL files or GraphQL information directly here. And normally it opened up VS Code because we selected the default editor as VS Code, but we shouldn't have. All right, so everything is in place. Whatever we need is in place. And the next thing that we will do is go back and do the fun thing of pushing this. Push means I made some changes and I know you have provisioned some resources, but I built new services. I want you to send this out to the cloud. It first fetches the information from backend and compares what we have done and says, okay, there are 2 creates and it's not working. So it says owners may assign. First of all, whoop. All right, so we have a resolution. Syntax cannot parse unexpected character. Dot. We are missing something probably somewhere. Where is the syntax error? That's the problem. Let's try it again. If it doesn't work, I will just try to find it. Nice. So right now, hopefully it will push it. Otherwise, we might just have a dot somewhere that we forgot. Oh, this is weird. Every once in a while, the entire screen share is dropped. I don't know why. All right. It says resolution error, resolution syntax error cannot parse the object. Let's check the README again and see what we might be missing or what we might have. Everything seems to be all right. We will ask Kiro about it. I will actually use the Kiro CLI. For the Kiro CLI, you can also run it as a CLI application in your platform, and this allows you to just ask your queries or run whatever you need over here as well. So what I will do is I have the following GraphQL file, but I get an error. Why is that? And let's ask this. I think with AI, we became more efficient and more lazy at the same time. So right now it's going to fix it for me. Thank you very much. You are too kind. It says fix the schema, and it's because of the dot. Okay. It's been so long since I worked with Gen 1, so I'm really interested in how this is. I say, can you add the collaborators capability as well? Maybe this would work better. Let's see. Now it is reading my file. We can actually use a custom author with groups. It is so cool that now update your application. Go to All right. Anyway, let's continue with this. Then we will, if there are any problems, then we will fix that problem accordingly. So I go back to the schema and hopefully everything is fixed and I will push it. To push it, we will do amplify push. All right, now it is pushing everything, which is really cool. While it does that, let's see what's going on over here. So there are some changes that we have added, which is fine. And there's the GraphQL client that is created, and many files they have been added with Amplify folder itself. So for example, these three we added because of the specs that is running right now. The Amplify related ones, they have been added automatically, but we are not doing much of a change over there. The one about the GraphQL client, though, that is the part that is, I would say, interesting. The reason is I'm really curious if it's going to break something or fix something, so we will see it together. But the good thing is that if I go back to my application, you can see that it adds everything, every meaningful change directly. And this is very valuable for me. These meaningful changes will make my task implementation or the task usage better. So right now, it actually adds everything, the timeout and so on, and carries on by adding. So when I go back, I will just see my deployment for API, and once it is done, we will make sure this is going to work as well. In the meantime, it does that. The next thing that we are going to do is actually a fun thing. We will check out how we can add new items to the shopping list, play around with it, and so on. And once it is done, we will start the process of the migration. So if I go to the migration file, we can read that. Let me make this bigger. We can read it like it actually tells us you should not use it in production. I want to reiterate it because it's still beta. Not all Gen 1 apps are supported for migration. All right. So for migrating, I would highly recommend you to be on a node environment, meaning that it can be a React app, it can be a Next.js app, and so on. There are some known limitations, like multiple storage resources are not supported right now. Multiple environments right now not supported as well. But if you have a function access in DynamoDB table, the model name must be Pascal cased if you have an additional one. So if you're using IAM, you have to do some operations on it. We are not using IAM, we can pass it. So how this process starts is, let's check out the prerequisites. Your front-end code is located in the same code as backend. Yes, we already have it. We have an NPM compatible based app, meaning that it's a front-end application, and your Gen 1 environment is deployed via the hosting service. This is going to be interesting. Why do I need the hosting service? We have the default, which is fine, and my account is already bootstrapped with CDK, that is also fine. I think the only problematic part is your Gen 1 environment is deployed via the hosting service. I don't know. We will see. All right. So all these changes and everything is still happening. Sadly, we cannot push this thing now because all of these changes, they will have my Amplify files, and I don't want to share it directly outside. Anyway, right now it makes sure so we can move forward. There's a lot more than I thought it would be, so I will just actually put a pause to this implementation. And let's continue from this. Like we will continue with this one later on because I'm going to rerun this anyway. All right. So here's what we are going to do. We have some problems and whatnot on the TS config, which is fine, but let's go back to our terminal and run npm run dev. With the npm run dev, we can check out our Amplify configuration, and that should have more information here, which, yeah, in AWS exports, we already have it. Nice. So if I go back to my app and run it here, I can see that like I can create a new account. I will call this there, and I will make a super secure password. Passwords doesn't match. They are that secure. And I will have an email address as well. So we create an account. Next thing that we will get is a confirmation email. I already got it. I will just add it from here. All right. Once this is done, the next thing that we are going to do is you'll create your first list. Say weekly groceries, and we will create a list. Go to the list. It says, I think I shouldn't have done the first power call than the other thing. That is the big problem that I have. So here's what I will do. I will just abandon this project and go back to the original one that we have. So what I will do is I will nuke this thing, shopping this one. Let's get rid of this and go back to what we actually built. And let's go back to the shopping list app. Yes, sir. And we will open up the Kiro. All right. The next thing that we will do in Kiro is to do Amplify init. With the Amplify init in place, we will just run the project and initialize actually a project. And okay, Amplify init, we have to say yes to that. Prefer not the answer. Let's call this shopping list app. Let's keep it that way. We have the default one. Now we are provisioning our data. In the meantime, I will actually have to delete some of the resources that has been created with the previous application, because normally I should have actually deleted before I move forward with initializing a new one to save myself some resources, but I will just do it myself. So up, we're here. All right. Initialization is done. The previous one, I will just delete it myself. App settings, general settings, and we will delete it manually. All right. The next thing that we will do is to add the authentication. To add the authentication, we will just use the username like we did before, and with the just deleting Amplify in the meantime, and we are adding the API as well. With the API, we will add, okay, this is deleting that one, that is fine. We will remove this one, and nice. We can get rid of this, we don't need it. Once this thing is done, I will just use cognitive user pool. No, continue this one. I will say no to this, and I will say npm install to be sure. I don't want to change anything right now. Whatever we have, I want to continue with it. I just want to run the migration properly now. All right, once all of these in place, the next thing that I will do is, I don't need this one. I will go back to my project, open up Amplify, backend, API, and in schema file, I will just type shopping list, this item. All right. So what I will do now is Amplify push lists. The Y flag here allows me to just accept everything directly. Right now, it says there is a problem. The problem is in here, the owner field and so on. And I will come back here and say that like in the current file, I get the error for my schema. Can you fix it, please? You know what? You can reference the current file even directly. You don't need to just say current file for it to understand what you have opened up, but you would just like say that use the current file and fix the problem. Amplify's auth directive doesn't support nested field references like this for the owner field, and it just updates everything. We can do more simpler approach as well, but we don't need it. That's completely fine. Let's try it again by push. Right now we are still fetching, still we will check the crate and so on. Now everything is compiled successfully and we can continue. Once this is done, it will create an Amplify like AWS exports file with every information that we need. And once it is in place, then the next thing that we will do is to run this application and basically play around with it, then migrate our data. While it does that, let's continue reading the migration guide. But we will go through step by step. You can check out the feature coverage. Like right now for Amplify and auth, we can have username. We don't have any socials. We can just jump from it. And we have the user sign up. We can add additional user groups. If the multi-factor authentication is on, that's another story, but we don't have it as well. So basically, the attributes and everything else is defined and added by and from whatever we are using as well. So right now, the refresh token is there, but many other capabilities is not there yet. If you need it, use it and join the discussions to deliver this feedback, please. For API, we have the API key authorization mode support, but not Cognito, but I have the Cognito, so let's see how it's going to work. For the REST API, it is partial support, but I have never used REST API with Amplify before, so it should be good. And functions, we are using TypeScript, so I wouldn't be surprised if only the Node.js is used, which is fine. The GUI and other stuff, the additional stuff, they are not working right now, so that should be good. The supported frameworks are React, Next.js, Angular, Vue, JavaScript, React Native for Flutter, Android, which means Kotlin, and Swift. We don't have support yet. All right. So without further ado, next thing that we will do is to start hopefully when this thing deploys. I wonder how many people are using Amplify Gen 1 nowadays. I know there are a lot of people asking for Gen 2, but there are also many people asking that everything just should stay as it is and they would be happy with it. I'm very curious if they mean it or they actually don't feel comfortable moving things around. It depends on what people are looking for. All right, let me move this camera a bit to the right so we can properly be centered. All right, the deployment is happening. And afterwards, we will actually take care of everything. We have roughly 15 minutes left before I wrap up. I hope we can start with the migration side. This was a really, ad hoc, let's do a live stream kind of thing. I think I will think about this series again. I wanted to more structured one and not just like, let's jump in and do this kind of thing. I think we can do better. But this was an experiment, so we experimented together. And I think I will have a plan rather than just jumping in. The point was to be with you all, and like if you're watching later on as well, I really want to build this thing as soon as possible. Yes. This is taking longer than it should. Not cool. Not cool. All right, you know what? Okay. I guess I needed to threaten it a bit. All right, everything is deployed. So let's run this thing. Not like this, but like this. All right, we have some issues here. That is fine. That is why we have the AI to help us out as well, so they can quickly fix this problem. Oh, this is really small. This is going to be harder for people to read this. I just realized when I look out to the left side, it was too small. So we need to do some updates to the schema. Next thing is we will do an Amplify code gen to make sure the code is generated properly. And once it is done, we will actually do an Amplify push again. All right. The change here should be easier than it was before because it is just changing a field and all the necessary provision of the data is there already. Right, the deployments are taking longer than it should be. I don't like this one. All right, this was just like I will slowly wrap this up because like I don't think we are moving forward. What I will do is I will do another live stream probably on Friday and make sure that we have proper planning and everything in place. This one probably it will just stay there. You will not hear or see from this one. This was just for me to test drive some things. I'm glad I did. But next time we will have a proper live stream with proper planning. So probably I will see you all on Friday. So take care.